Hello, my name is Josh Bourdon, and I am an Apple and Casper administrator in K-12 public education. I'd like to show you a simple proof of concept of something that I've been working on to improve iPad setup in my environment. I'd also like to use this proof of concept to drum up a bit more support for Configurator automation, something that I think has a lot of potential in the education space. In my environment, I manage nearly 5,000 iOS devices in a technology consortium made up of 5 K-12 public school districts and 1 intermediate or educational services district. Our current challenges in iOS management mostly center around device setup. 5 out of 6 of these districts do not use one-to-one assignment. Most student devices are not assigned specifically to a user in our JSS. When it comes to assigning applications and configurations, the challenge is to set up carts with known configurations without the assistance of users' information and LDAP. We're trying to make a coherent management environment, but obviously nobody wants to hunt down groups of 30 iPads in the JSS that are all named iPad. We've tried setting pre-stages for each cart or group, but if devices need to be replaced or moved around, that requires access, or even, more difficult for some, knowledge of the JSS to accomplish this. Usually, that task falls to me as an administrator, which slows me and everybody else down. Luckily, when Apple released Configurator 2, they also packed in automation and command line tools, which led me to create the script called Casfigurator. Casfigurator, besides being a project that needs a better name, is a project of Apple scripts, which, for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm using in my environment to help a user set up a group of iOS devices, create a naming scheme that matches our proper naming convention, and assign apps from the JSS to the device without having to sign in to the JSS web app. For today, I'm only demonstrating those items, but since the Configurator command line utility allows for simplified user interaction with the JSS API, there's a wealth of possibilities. Before I start the demo, I'll go over what's been set up on the JSS to make this happen. First, there's an extension attribute where we'll write the data for our app distribution group lists. Our script will populate space-separated values to this extension attribute for each device we run it on. Next is a series of smart groups that will use the criteria of app distribution group is like, and then whatever we decide to name our distribution list. And finally, we need to have the apps scoped to their appropriate groups. That's all that needs to be set up on the JSS. The rest is handled by pre-populated information written into the script. Now I'll take you through a quick demo. I have 3 iPads connected to my Mac that you can see in Configurator. They are not enrolled into my JSS, and I want them enrolled, named with the proper naming convention, and put into the correct groups for app distribution, all as a guided process for an intern. I have an automator workflow that will put the iPads through their DEP automated setup. Following that, it will run the Casfigurator script. This will allow the iPads to enroll into the JSS and walk the intern through the setup process. For this demonstration, I will run this workflow within the automator window, but it can be run as a scripted application. For the sake of time, I will be speeding up portions of this demonstration. You can see the elapsed time at the bottom of your screen. First, the devices will run their automated DEP setup. Once that is completed, the user will be prompted for their JSS credentials. These will be passed on to the commands that let us interface with the JSS API. Now the user will walk through a series of prompts that will help them build the base name for these devices. This will be based off of the school district, building, and other relevant information. We have a very large and complex environment, so making it easy for interns to name devices with the correct abbreviations with little effort was very important. Anyone should be able to run the script and build the proper name with as little knowledge as possible. Since we're working with interns, I also tried to make the prompts very encouraging. Once the base name is set, the script will ask the user to select which app distribution lists the devices will be subscribed to. These lists correspond to the smart groups I showed you earlier. Once the data is written to the device record on the JSS and the devices run an update inventory, which is the last item in the script, the JSS will recalculate the smart groups for that device, and they will get moved into their proper groups. At this point, the script is writing data to the JSS, including the device name. It will also write the device name with Configurator directly to the device. One of the main caveats to the script in its current state is that we're not manipulating devices and sending data simultaneously. These are simple loops for connected devices running one at a time. At the present moment, for each device you connect, the longer the script will take to run. Now that the devices are done, I can check my JSS to verify that everything has completed. We can see on our device record that they were moved into my test site, something that was not set up in my DEP pre-stage. The field for app distribution list has been updated to reflect our selections. And if we head over to the Management tab, we can see that the device is scoped to all 7 apps, as well as being placed into the correct smart groups. At this point, all we have to do is wait for the devices to receive their VPP licenses and start installing apps. I'll do another quick demo of another script that doesn't have any extension attributes, so it should be very easy to get up and running in another environment. So let's say the scenario is that we have an intern resetting up devices and we want the device name to reflect the device's asset tag and the assigned username. Easy enough for an admin to do with a bash script, but we want the intern to affect only the devices that are plugged into the computer, and we want it done at setup so the intern can also use Configurator to customize the wallpaper and add the device name, asset tag, and QR code of those items to the device's screen, which, by the way, is a great Configurator feature. So I have this script here, which is going to gather up the serial numbers of the devices connected to the computer, go out to the JSS API, find the asset tag and the assigned username, and write that as the device name through Configurator. Now our devices are named as asset tag and username, so that intern can then grab a blueprint for wallpaper, which will then write the device name with the information that we've grabbed from the JSS, along with any other tokens we set in our wallpaper blueprint, and write those to the home screen of the iPad with a QR code. If you are interested in checking out Casfigurator for yourself, I have the files hosted up on my GitHub, github.com/bumbletech. I did try to genericize the script you see in the first demo as much as possible, but because it uses extension attributes, which will vary from system to system, it will take a bit of JSS API and AppleScript knowledge to get it working in your environment. If you'd like more information about Configurator automation, you can check out configautomation.com. You may need developer access, but on Apple's website there is a great video on OS X automation that features Configurator from WWDC 2015.